Guys, today we're going to talk about three things that are quite impactful for you. One is income, one is influence, and the other one is impact. And today we're going to frame this all around how to create a story that has heft, that has weight, that actually allows somebody to create value for themselves by listening to you. Now, if that's interesting, you're definitely going to want to hear a little bit more, because today we have Troy S. Krueger. He is the CEO and founder of Astra Black, an amazing storytelling agency for marketers, for anyone that wants to get out there and create value in the marketplace. He is someone that is immensely able and capable to create value, and we're going to have a great conversation. I'm so grateful to have him on today. Welcome to the stage, Troy. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, and super stoked to have you, by the way.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. So I've been in the entertainment industry pretty much my entire life. Always loved music and just been attracted to that type of industry, whether it's entertainment, events, hospitality, stuff like that. So at an early age, like I started a DJ company, and because I just love playing music and seeing people dance and be happy and everything. So I've been an entrepreneur ever since I was like 15. And I love that business and that type of industry. Along the way, like eventually went to university for business administration and then entertainment business. And then eventually I found a passion for film production. So, which is another avenue where music is involved, storytelling is involved. And I think that's really where you and I connect, is the storytelling aspect of telling stories and capturing people's emotions, I guess, through experiences.
Absolutely.
Besides that, I have a deep marketing and branding and strategy and systems background, helping other companies and brands do their websites, their design, their branding, their marketing, putting systems together, stuff like that. So, and that's what Astra Black does now.
Beautiful. So all of these different experiences have equipped you to not just share stories that are impactful and meaningful, but something that creates real value for your audience. Today, our topic is story weight, how to have heft, how to have a hearty story, not one that's super surface level, that barely makes an impact at all, but one that leaves a dent in whatever it is that you're sharing about. Talk to us about one of those either key concepts that come to mind when you hear story weight, or something that you're like, this is how you share a story that is weighty, that has heft.
I think it really starts with having that good hook, which is kind of like you bring up in your book. So having a hook, I mean, even in today's social media platforms and everything, with YouTube videos and reels, you have to have that hook immediately within like 1 to 3 seconds. Otherwise, no one's watching it. I mean, even the algorithms catch that stuff. So having that hook is going to give it weight. But then the thing with storytelling is you don't want to give away the whole story right away. And that's where people keep getting drawn in, because they want to keep finding out, well, what's next and what's next. They want to be in that mystery and experience, right? That's where I love movies, because it's a good movie. You have that hook that immediately is going to draw you in within like 3 seconds, like especially with action-packed movies. But then one thing we've learned in filmmaking is within about 10 to 15 minutes or so, you want to have that inciting incident. And what that means is something happens within that whole storyline that changes the whole, makes the movie pretty much. It could be a tragic event or whatever it is, but within that 10 to 15 minutes is something happens. And then that leads into like act 2 and act 3. Does that make sense? You know.
Absolutely. I love it. I'm an actor by trade. And when you talk about an inciting incident, for those of you that have never really studied this, it comes down to what is that stasis interruption? Like this is where we were, the interruption to say, we can no longer be there. It is, I go on this adventure or our current situation will deteriorate into chaos or awfulness.
Yeah.
It's that call to adventure. A lot of times it's the way that James
hero story. I mean, it's
story. James Campbell. That is right. Yeah.
Hero's journey.
The monument. Absolutely. It really comes down to making sure whenever you are setting up your story that is a turning point or an inflection point that your character has a big choice to make. Am I going to go after that call to adventure, or I'm going to just stay where I'm at? And if they stay where they're at, you don't have a story. It's super boring.
Yep. Pretty much.
So, here, give us an example in business. How is this applied so that we can say, oh, when I'm writing a story for my business, where I'm doing a commercial, I'm doing something that is a digital asset, how do I create something that utilizes weight and value so that when someone sees it, they're like, oh, I'm drawn in with the hook, but I stay because I want to see what happens because they went on this call to adventure?
Good question. An example, what really comes to mind in what I do, because I want to be honest, like I'm not a like master storyteller like yourself or like an author or a script writer or anything, but I know what it needs to take for a company or a brand or whatever, or a project to have good storytelling. Yeah. I guess for me, when it comes to branding, that's where I can help really bring out a brand or a company's brand and story by going to a deeper psychological level than a lot of, these other freelancers or companies do. They just go surface level, like, well, here's your website and stuff like that. I go much deeper than that. It's just a psychological thing. And then creating an experience around that, because that's just what everyone wants now these days, is an experience. And it's world building. It's not just one campaign or something like that anymore. The companies that are doing it well are building worlds. I mean, you think about Marvel or Adobe or Apple or anything, like you can go any direction in their story and you're going to have an experience. I don't know if any of this makes sense, but
I think I'm following exactly what you're saying. It's not just about the call to action. It's, do you have enough detail in your story that you are surrounded, that you can create a context that people connect with?
Yes.
That when you hear those people talking or you experience their brand, oh, I've heard a story like this. I can connect with it. I can resonate with it. This is something that makes sense for me. Like I think of Coca-Cola. They align themselves often with things like Christmas, where you're like, I have all these good feelings with Christmas. And then they're like, hey, and Coca-Cola. And you're like, oh, that was brilliant. How did you get me to think Coca-Cola, even though you have nothing to do with Santa Claus? A lot of the time, a great brand story has everything to do with not just the one iteration. It is multiple facets. You attach these all together, and that world is the story that you live in. So talk to me about what that looks like in practicality. Not every person has the ability to be an Adobe or to be a Coca-Cola, but they can do some brand specific things to have their story have more weight. What are some of the things you can do for those brand new people?
Absolutely. Yeah. Not all of us are huge brand companies, but and have that, all those resources and capital to do all these big things. But you don't need all that. You just have to, it could be, say, a restaurant, and doing part of the experience or the story is just doing, like, maybe you do some pop-up events, and you, besides just like pop-up events, it's not just like the experience at the restaurant. Now you're going out and creating an experience that people are getting out on the street. And then it's also not just physical experience, it's digital. Like, what kind of experience are they going to have online with your brand? Because you want to make people remember that inside themselves. And when they have that everlasting feeling, they're going to tell other people, they're going to remember that, how you made them feel, and they're going to want to come back. They're going to want more.
Absolutely. What this makes me think of with having a story that's valuable is when you have weight to your story, it means that when people hear it, they want to interact with it. It's something that's of value. A lot of times people say, oh, wow, that was meaty. It had a lot of meat to it. If you're always focusing on the surface level, the marshmallows, the things that are the icing, and you don't get to the real meat of it, you don't have that catharsis, which is that purging of emotions, that changing of state where you have an emotional connection with the audience. And if they don't feel it, they're not going to have a whole lot of empathy with your brand. They're not going to create a connection that's deep. And that's one of the reasons I wrote Storyhook Method, was the way I've been able to share stories. It all comes down to, how am I connecting in a human manner, in a universal way? Because all of us have this human experience, and we all have had different emotions. We felt sad, we felt happy, we've had every emotion in between. If we can tap into those universal experiences and then allow other people to see wherever they were, that current state, and they go on that call to adventure with us. And as we're on that adventure, we're building that towards that climax, we have all these upsetting things to happen to us. Eventually, when we have that transformation, you hit that peak, that climactic moment. There is that hero, and the hero is your person that you're talking to. You get to see them make that transformation. And this was something that was interesting. I had Bill Blankshane on my podcast last week, and he talked about, your story is about you, but it's not for you. I think this is really important when you were talking about story weight, talking about creating value in your story. What are your thoughts on that? That you have to package your story and gift it to your audience, because if it's only for you, you didn't do the real work. It might still be entertaining, but people are going to have that be like eating a marshmallow on a campfire. It'll be tasty for a moment and then it's over. How do you have them have the meat and potatoes type of story? The ones that have so much weight that you're like, man, this is so good. I want to interact with you forever now. Talk to me.
That's a pretty deep statement that guy made. So because, well, I mean, if it's just all about you, like, does anyone really want to share it? And I think those are the best stories. I mean, storytelling's been around since the day of man. And those good stories keep getting passed down and down for generations. So I guess it makes me think of that is like, if it's just all about you, no one really is going to share your story. And that's what you want it to be, about others, so that it gets shared. Which also, it makes me think of like a business of, or not just business, but value and perceived value. So what that means is that pen there could be this, there could be two exact pens, but one has created a story of perceived value around it, and someone will buy it for $1,000 because of the brand. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
It was 2 weeks ago. I was at Walmart. I was walking down the aisle where they have all these pens and things, and I was like, that pencil is the exact brand color.
Yeah.
And I spent $5 on a pencil that I didn't need because it had the right color.
Yes.
That was it.
There you
That's
go.
it. And
It had
sometimes
value to you,
it
right?
added value to me. Exactly.
To me, it's like, I don't really care.
Like that mustardy yellow, that doesn't mean anything to me. But if I go like this, like, oh, that is super close to your brand color. Exactly. If it aligns with not just your colors, that's one thing. It's aligned with who you are
Yeah.
and it taps into your identity. A lot of times when people feel that, that's when things start to shift for you because you're like, whoa, that's me. I feel you. The reason I have a Mac is because I feel connected to
Yes.
the brand. It's one
Yes.
of the best brand stories there are. Are
And
you a
that's
creative? You think different, not
yes.
differently, even though that's the correct way to say it. Is think different.
Yeah.
So fascinating that the better our brands are, the easier it is for people to say, oh, you have that problem. Oh, you need to talk to Brigham. You struggle with getting your story out there and have it in a meaningful way. You need to talk to Brigham. That type of branding is what we're going for when you're sharing a story.
Yeah.
So when people think of you, you are in alignment in all these different ways with the challenge that you solve, so that when they hear that challenge, they think of you, even if they're not the ones that have that challenge. So talk to us about, oh yeah, go ahead. You've got an idea, and then I'm
I
asking
think
you
that
a question.
exactly what you're saying gives the story weight. I always go back to branding because that's what I do. Is like,
Mhm.
if your brand had or story has weight, they're going to remember your brand. It's just like
Oh,
Apple. They've got weight. People love Apple because of the identity that it has.
mm.
People love Android and Google or whatever it is, the other side, because of that brand. So that's what gives story weight. And if there's no weight, there's no value.
That's so important.
So
Let's talk about this for a moment. When we're deciding things that we say, this is who we are, this is our value. I've heard this so many times where people are saying, well, you have to do this and you have to do this and you should do this and you should do this. I want to get your opinion on this. When you are just genuinely yourself, and then you say, this is what I like, and this is simplifying the brand to just, this is who I am, and this is what I like, and this is why I care about it. If you truly care about those things, I feel like that is the easiest differentiator that there is on the planet. But if you try and be something that you're not and say, well, the popular colors right now are red and gray, I'm going to do those, even though purple and yellow is my thing. That's okay. I'm going to do this. And then you start stepping out of other things. Well, everyone else is dressing up in a business suit. I guess I will do that too, even though I like to wear polos. Like, it really comes down to who are you, and then who is the story of your entire company. Like if you're solopreneur, it's you. But if you have a huge company, it's everything in that brand story. So talk to me about differentiation, and do you feel the same way that I do, that if you just be you but out loud, that's the easiest hack to be more visible online?
yes, the one word that comes to mind is authenticity.
Mhm.
And that also gives your brand, your story weight. So authenticity. And I've learned that too over time. Just be you, and people are going to be attracted to you by being yourself, because
Mm.
we know what genuine is. We know when people are being fake, or when brands are being fake, or trying to be somebody. They're putting on this facade. I mean, every human puts on a show every single day, a facade, and we get shaped and formed by those, peers and people in our lives, like because
Mhm.
of their beliefs and all these things coming at us. We get shaped like that. But the ones that really do well are the ones that are just themselves. I mean, you think of a lot of actors or influencers and everything. The ones that people just love is when they're just being themselves. Think of like Bert Kreischer, like a comedian, like takes his shirt off on stage, like people eat that up because he's just being himself, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's authentic and he doesn't care what is so, and that's what people get attracted to. I mean, and it's just the same thing with so many different things. When a brand is authentic and feels themselves, that's how a company builds. When others are now with you, they feel that mission, they feel the value, they feel the story. Now you got a tribe so that is with you, and if they can be that way too, now you got real value, like lots of power.
For sure. I absolutely am tracking with you.
Yeah.
Well, we said at the very top of this that we would talk about influence, impact, and income when it comes to weight in your story, having something of value. For every single person, those are going to be slightly different. But in your business, what is a story that you felt was really impactful?
Impactful.
Yeah. When you shared it, it made a difference.
It's a good question. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Let's come back to that one.
No problem. All right. How about influence? How have you created influence that could be on social media with other people, getting the attention so that your message can start to positively impact others? Talk about influence for me.
Sure. Yeah. I think for influence, comes down to being who I am. And when people get to know what you do, so for like me, it became like branding, the design, and business strategy and everything. So I have a lot of influence there. And then people I've inspired. You know what's cool? It makes me think now.
Okay.
I get a lot of friends or other people that tell me, like, you know, your drive and never giving up, your perseverance and tenacity and all this has really inspired me to do something with my life. And when you get messages like that are just like, I never knew I inspired you, like, it makes you like, wow, okay. It makes you feel good, but it's like, it makes you feel good too, like you're helping people. I love that stuff. So, and you don't even know that you're doing it. That's, I think, what's even cooler, I guess, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Getting messages from people that you're changing their life,
Right.
even a slight shift can drastically change somebody's life. That's all the influence is a little nudge in the right direction.
Yes. You know what it makes me think of, Brigham, is just, maybe this goes kind of back to impact. Like 20 years ago, I was overweight, 250 pounds, never worked out, and like ate junk food all the time. But 20 years ago, I decided to change my life and start working out, eating healthier and everything. And now I'm like very fit and everything. So it inspires a lot of people to be like, wow, I need to get to the gym, stuff like that. Right. It's like, and I'm supportive. I'm like, the first thing you got to do is just walk in the door. So, so I guess I've influenced people there. Like, man, I want to do something too, like eat healthier or whatever. I think I've had an impact there for sure.
For sure.
Not necessarily business, but in personal, like life.
Well, you think about this. I'm going to stop you there because you absolutely will impact others in their business. If you inspire them to get to the gym one more time a week.
Yeah.
What is that going to do for the longevity of their life and their business?
Yeah.
Because all of these are interconnected. We are one soul.
Yeah.
We're not just a business person. We're not just a dad. We are one person. So when we get up and our personal life is not working well, and then we get to our profession and we're like, oh, wow, that's going pretty good. And then you look over here in your community, you're not surrounding yourself with good people. And you're like, oh, over here in my vitality, my health is sucking.
Yeah.
You may be even crushing it on one of those areas, but you won't be super fulfilled and happy if you're always focusing on where you want to go and not focusing on who you are right now and how you're growing.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So what I'm going to bring this back to is when you are in this idea of sharing your story, every time you share a story that shows transformation, just like what you said, Troy, you went down from 250 pounds to what, you're super fit now.
Up 212 now, but yeah.
212, but seriously,
it's muscle.
Massive shift in your health, your vitality, your wellness, and that impacts your business. And that impacts the other people that come into your organization because they want to say, wow, you're really taking care of yourself. If you do that in your personal life and in your vitality, wonder what you do in your business.
Right.
That discipline does transfer.
That's the word. I was just so.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about this last one. This last I is income.
Income.
If you have a story that has weight, you can have that weight be gold if you know how to frame it correctly, you know how to put it together. We talked about the importance of your story when it is significant, when it's something that is extremely important, not just to you, but to the people you're talking to. And then you translate it in such a way that it means something for them. This whole episode is all about how to create the weight. That's what the translation idea is. What does this mean for your audience? And then you focus in on the objective. This is what we're trying to accomplish. You relive it because you know how to put all of these performance elements back together. And then you go with a clear, concise call to action. A yes. What does this do to help you have more weight in your story and create more moolah?
Yes. So is that a question?
Yeah. How does it do it, man? How do you create more income based off of this story model? You've read my book. You did a great review about it. Tell me how you've applied this to create more income. And even in this whole idea, what is it that matters for the audience right now to be able to say, oh, you can take this and create stories that have more weight?
Nothing off the top of my head at the moment, Brigham.
That's all right. Let me share one idea for you guys.
Sure.
When you think about sharing a story, there is, hey, I'm going to share an experience that is kind of like an anecdote. It can be a sentence or two for a laugh. Those are kind of surface level. And then you can share a really meaty story, something that has weight, that will stay with people. When you have a story that stays with people, those are the ones that can change them because they can come back to that story when they need it. What's a story in your life that you've been able to come back to, even if it wasn't one that you created, but one that when you think about it, like, wow, I really connected with this specific character. Maybe you've bought merchandise because you connected with that. You saw a hat that they had that said a saying with a character in a movie. You're like, oh, I need that hat because I connect with that. You bought a book just because they had the characters on there. All of those different things are ways that you can create income based on your story because you created an experience. It's not just about the story. It's about how it made you feel and how you resonated with you. Something come to mind yet?
Not yet. I'm thinking.
Stories. Let's go. I'll narrow the field. In the last year, you've worked with a bunch of entrepreneurs on personal branding. What's a way that you've been able to help them create income based on their personal brand and their story?
Okay. I think one of my superpowers is with the clients I work with and the brands I work with is a lot of times I come in and their brand is all over the place. Their systems, everything is just all over the place. Like it's just a mess. And I'm able to come in and unravel that all and put it and organize it into one system so that there's more clarity, there's more efficiency. Now we have a system, especially in today's world with lots of data and data management and broken systems, because no one actually put that stuff into place in the beginning And now that's what I am really good at doing. And that once those are in place, now we could focus on doing more things to bring in more income. So right now I'm working with a restaurant, and this is the case study that I'm literally talking about. Like, I'm working with a restaurant that now has 3 restaurants in their portfolio. Their websites are not great. Their branding is all over the place. The social media accounts people have access to it that aren't even part of the company. No one knows who's got access to that social media platform. It's just a mess. Passwords are all over the place. These people have left the company, so they knew how to do something, but now no one else knows that. It's just chaos. So
sounds like chaos. Yeah, very messy.
Yeah, and then they want to do rebranding, which I'm helping them do that. And rebranding, I'm good with that because you want to keep up to date, but it's also can be very touchy because you have to stick with who they are at a core, their story, and then where we are now and where we're going to go in the future, and still relate to people that have known the brand for 20 plus years. And a lot of people are afraid of change, but if you don't change either or adapt to the times, you just get left behind. People forget about you anyway. So that's really where I'm helping others with getting more income.
Beautiful.
If that makes sense.
That makes a ton of sense.
Okay.
Simplicity sells.
Yes.
If you can take something that's highly complicated and chaotic, package it so that somebody understands why it matters to them, that's what a great story does for you. A lot of times when you hear a story that resonates with you, that weight is something that will stay with you because you say, wow, I want that. I need that. That's exciting. But if it doesn't like touch your heart, it doesn't ever hit the feels, you don't feel like getting it.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. And I think that's what we do very well, for sure. Everything that we talked about today was how do we improve our impact? How do we get more influence? And how do we have more income? Literally all of those are brought up in the story hook method. You read it, Troy. What was your takeaway from the story hook method? What was the reason that people want to go and check it out?
I think it's just everything that we talked about, and it made me really reflect on how I can be a better communicator. My strongest communicating is writing. I'm not the greatest speaker. I do want to speak and stuff like that, but like I have to, I'm better at writing because I can write out my thoughts clearer and all this stuff. And you're a master speaker and a communicator. And I say too, with your book, a word craftsmanship. And I like the stories where you were teaching for the kids and like how you had to get their attention, because getting kids' attention is definitely challenging.
Definitely.
But like using your methods made me think of like, okay, when I do start speaking and getting on stages and doing presentations, like how I could be better and getting that attention, getting that hook, and keeping their attention, and then also having an impact and not making them like fall asleep or just play on their phone or whatever. I think that's probably a lot of people's fears, but I guess one of my fears when I'm speaking or something, people just lose attention. So I'll start speaking faster because I want to get things out, but I got to learn not to really do that. I got to just slow down, be calm, and kind of control the room, I guess. Right?
Absolutely. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Thank you so much, Troy. I really appreciate it. Guys, go check out Astra Black if you have branding and specifically want to get your website stuff dialed in, some video content. You're great at doing that. Really grateful to have you on today. And I want to make sure that if you guys haven't been able to understand what comes when you get on the other side of stage fright, So that fear dissipates. That's why I wrote this book, 3 Reasons Stage Fright Costs and Why You Must Fix It. That little thing at the bottom of the screen, brighambcom.com/3, that will give you access to this book for free. Literally, I've had people buy that for $50 from me because it is such an extremely valuable experience to go through and recognize what is the challenge here with communication skills. How can I level up those communication skills to the point that it doesn't just sound good, but when you know what you're talking about, you're highly competent, that other people can understand you and do something with the message that you have. That's what Story Weight's all about. That's what my story hook method's about. That book is so exciting. It's coming out very soon, and you do not want to miss it. If you're interested in that, DM me. I definitely want to make sure you get access to it. Thank you so much again, Troy, for being here, sharing such wonderful insights. I loved that experience, and it has been a pleasure. Guys, go to Astra Black, check it out. What was the website one more time for them so they can make sure they know how to get to you?
astrablack.co. So it's ASERA black.co.
Beautiful. Guys, go to astrablack.co and get to know Troy a little bit more. Thank you so much, buddy. We'll talk to you guys. God bless.